HiRevz Media is sponsored by Born to Ride Motorcycle Magazine. Check out borntoride.com. Alright guys, working on the Genesis Coupe again today. Got an Alpine ILX 207, it's one of the older ones. Gonna end up putting that one in today. So it does have Apple CarPlay and Bluetooth and all that good stuff. Got the dash trim piece to go on there. Got some wiring stuff, all the rest of the radio wiring. And then this is pretty neat. This is a camera that's mounted to your standard tag light. So you replace the tag light housing and clip this up in there, and then it gives you an actual camera to run up to the radio that's not normally there. Maybe they did run some of these on some of the other cars and it's the same piece, I don't know. Hopefully that fits, I haven't tried it, so we'll see. But the dash assembly is pretty simple. Pop out the part that goes around your gear shifter, pop the main dash out, and then the top piece has to come out, I'm pretty sure, just to get to these screws at the tops of the brackets. So, and they send the extra plastic brackets, but I've seen where you can use the factory bracket on the new radio, and that will work too. So we'll go ahead and get her installed, start pulling it apart. All right guys, so got a few tools out here to work with. And the first thing we're gonna do is pop this plastic piece up. Then we pop this one out and then that one out to be able to get to the screws that are down in there. So, see if we can pry this up without scratching everything up. See if it's possible. Just pick up on it. No, I can't just pick up on it. All right, cool. All right. And then probably going to end up mounting this, the pedal throttle changer thing there. Run it up through the dash and probably mount it inside here. I got a little rat tail file here, little round file. See if I can just grind a little circle in one of the corners to be able to fit the wire through. So try that. And then this piece, if it just pops up here, they said it might. Some little plastic clips on it or something. There it goes. It's kind of tight. It's always scary pulling up on plastic pieces like this because you're putting a lot of pressure in one spot and it's all just grumpy about it. All right, there's that. So now got some little connectors in here. Pop these switches out, pop all this out, see how that comes together, and then get it out of the way. All right guys, so these, you just press the button, they pop right out. That just slides off. This one, push down the button. This one right here is a little weird. That's the lock, that little tiny piece right there. We ended up having to pry it up out of the way a little bit with a flathead screwdriver and then pull down on it. So that one was kind of iffy. The rest of them seem pretty good. You see right there, there's our screws that would be impossible to get to without this being removed. So we got to pop that piece off also. I'm going to have to use the pry tool on it. And then there is a few screws well, I guess there's two at the bottom and the two at the top, so that should be pretty simple. This might go pretty quick. I probably shouldn't say that. All right, guys, so that top piece has to come off first, and then the front piece comes straight out for you. The top piece has to go straight up, and it is miserable. You see where my screwdriver just gouged the crap out of it. The pry tool wouldn't get under there at all. I mean, you have to really put some pressure on that. It is not, it's pretty scary. I mean, it's not easy to do. So the next thing to do is get those two screws out, and then the bottom two screws. Let's pull the radio out of there. All right, guys. So now on the back of the radio, you've got your antenna. You've got an adapter for that. And then you've got a few other plugs in here. So you've got 3 sets of plugs down there here. There's a lot of wires in this thing. So figure out what all we've got, where all this runs to, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, so I've got the mounts on here. Went ahead and used the plastic ones that came with the kit. Looks like the stock ones would work, but the screws seem to work out better with these. Was able to get that in there. And now connecting the wires. This one does have the switch, which makes it where you don't have to run the e-brake. But that's about the only thing that's different. Everything else will hook up color to color all the way across the board. This is the reverse camera, which will end up hooking up, but everything else should work fine. All right, guys, all of our connections are made. We got our connectors here, connector for the radio here. Again, this is the reverse on this car, or this radio rather. So that'll plug in, and then we don't have an amp on this car, but we'll go ahead and plug in the RCAs just so we don't lose them. They're gonna be on the radio. We've got our mic to hook up and the camera. All right, guys, we got everything plugged in, everything hooked up, ready to go. Ready to drop back into place, and checked everything out. Radio all works here. Everything looks good, and I think that's going to work. So now we just got to set it back in place and see if these are set right, because these kind of slide if it's going to be set up there right. So I'm going to drop it in place, and then we'll lay the new cover up there and make sure that's going to work. But I think it's going to be good. So the only other thing I need to do before I close it up, get the USB cable hooked up. This one had a GPS signal coming into the radio. I am going to go ahead and run the wire. This does fit in the bumper, so that's good. Go ahead and run this wire out to where we can get to it when I close this up. So I just realized that I cannot use the camera with this radio, mainly because I don't have this. This is a CAN bus plug right here that would come out with another RCA. I just assumed it was in this group of RCAs, but that's all sound. So I started reading them. So this radio would have came with that. This is an old radio that was used. It came out of another car. So I don't have that plug, so I cannot hook it up. Even though it's got a switch to turn the camera on, I got no way to read it. So I guess I won't be installing the camera. So that kind of sucks. And there's supposed to be another plug here for some other stuff. So, I mean, this thing does a ton of things. It's even got HDMI ports on it, which is pretty insane. It'll even do iPhone mirroring. But this is so old that it says in the instructions, like the latest one's an iPhone 10. And that's what this thing does. So this thing's pretty old, but it works good. And Apple CarPlay still works for my phone. So, anyways, I guess I won't be hooking up a camera. Because I still want to use this radio. I guess I could change to a different radio later on and still install the camera, but this will work. All right, guys, get that snap back in. Got it screwed back on here, and then got this wire goes back to the top. This wire goes back to the AC. Just got to make sure those are ready to go. Now I'm going to move everything over to this. The old one's actually pretty simple. There's a few screws that you have to remove. But these are just clips on the top part, and then a few screws around the little tray down here and the climate control, and that just moves over. So that should be pretty simple. All right, guys, so this is how we set that up. Ended up just drilling a little hole back right corner. Got the wire ran in, got it up through the plastic now, so it's not coming up past my leg anymore, which is nice. And this will just fit back down in there. Of course, it screws on the back of the faceplate, but it'll be nice and easy to see, easy to get to, and then it's out of the way. It looks nice and clean, so that'll work. All right, guys, so here's what everything looks like. There's the little 9 drive at the bottom there, and that's going to be perfect for me to be able to see it from over here. Everything's good to go there. It's nice and mounted, and everything did pretty good. One thing as far as reviews go, I tried to adjust this a few different times. There's a bit of a gap between these two panels, which I don't like. And I don't know if there's anything that can be done about that. And then there's a bit of a gap around the radio. But this is really the only way I could get this radio to mount in there correctly. That's like the only ones that lined up. So there's not much I could do about that. But, and it's just those plastic mounts. So it does have a little bit of flex, but it's, you don't have to press on it hard or nothing anyways. So you'll never notice that. But everything does come to life. You can see all the good stuff here. So should work, and does play. So, and then we've got the cable here. I just ran it out and under, just so I can plug it in right here between the seats, throw it in the cup holder or whatever, and hook up Apple CarPlay, and all that seems to work fine. I'm sure nobody's gonna be buying this radio, but in general, installing it, you kind of see how it goes. But it's not too bad. I'm pretty happy with that. I can live with that. I'm glad this is in there now instead of just a wire hanging down. So I think that'll work. It's a pretty neat little setup here. So, but there you go. That's it, guys.
Time to get out and play. AMSOIL delivers the ultimate protection for your vehicles and equipment. Fast, free shipping right to your door. Spend $100 and shipping is on us. Order now at AMSOIL.com.